So if you've been watching the news, I'm sure you saw that video of the water slide accident where a piece fell right out of it while someone was sliding down on the icons of the sea. And to me, it's a perfect reminder about how a dream vacation can turn into a nightmare. You know, whether it's an onboard injury like that, a missed connection, lost luggage, all of these can affect your satisfaction and your pocketbook with your vacation. But travel insurance can definitely make the difference between a ruined trip and a rescued one. And here's the best part. I am going to show you a website where you can get various quotes and you can put in what you're most concerned about covering, and then you can compare all the different plans so you can find the perfect travel insurance for your trip. Cruises aren't just about the ticket price. Very often we might add specialty dining and add internet packages and drink packages, have to fly to the port and fly back from the port, and maybe there's a hotel stay and there's a transfer from the port to the cruise, and then there are excursion costs. Well, you get the idea. Your actual cruise price is much different than that initial ticket price. So you'll often have thousands of dollars tied up before you ever set foot on the ship. So what happens if your flight gets canceled and you miss embarkation, or you get sick right before sailing? Well, these are two scenarios that travel insurance can protect your pocketbook. So an example is my neighbor. She and her significant other were taking a once-in-a-lifetime cruise to Iceland. But because of weather and other things, flights got delayed and she missed embarking on the cruise ship completely. There went her vacation. They were left with no refund because those flights were made independently, not through the cruise line, no rebooking, and a very expensive lesson. If they would have had travel insurance, they would have been covered. And something that a lot of cruisers don't understand is that if something happens to you, let's say on the ship, you fall down the steps, you sprain an ankle, you all of a sudden get sick, you have this strange sharp pain in your side, well, and you have to go to the medical bay on your ship. Well, things are expensive. I know I saw one woman post that she was just treated for pneumonia a couple days, and that was $7,000. And another passenger suffered from really bad seasickness, got dehydrated, and needed IVs, and that was $4,000. And what about that U.S. woman that had to be air vac'd off a ship when she was near Chile? That medvac was over $100,000. But near Japan, a passenger had a heart attack and had to be medically vac'd off the ship, and it was $150,000. And that's something your health insurance doesn't pay for, even if you have international coverage. And here's the kicker. Before the cruise line even calls for air transport, guess what? They want to see that you're able to pay for it. So they're going to ask you to transfer money from your checking to your cruise account, your Visa card, whatever. They want to know that you're good for the payment. All this time, your health could be hanging in the balance, waiting for rescue. I know a couple weeks ago I saw, I think it was a Florida couple, and they had went on I think it was just a long weekend cruise for their anniversary, and the wife, who had never had any heart problems before, suffered a heart attack while on the ship, and they had to medically evac her, but the husband said he had to transfer money, and all this took time, and then they finally did evacuate her. She got to a hospital. She had another heart attack and she died. So it's a reality. Doesn't mean you had a problem before, but things can happen. So without travel insurance, you're on hook for those costs. And believe me, they can be steep. If you followed my vlog, my travel vlog, you know that I like to take excursions through local tour companies rather than the cruise line tour, which often is on a big bus. But if you're taking a cruise excursion and for some reason weather happens and they have to change ports and you won't be at the port where you had something booked, well, if you didn't book it through the cruise line, you're out that money. Well, again, then travel insurance could help reimburse the cost of your non-cruise line scheduled excursion. And I know because it's happened to us. And of course, there's a lot of fun activities to do when you go to a port. I know someone I used to work with, their son got injured, I believe it was Costa Rica, on a zip line and had to be evac'd home. And it was very, very expensive. Or you might be just taking a taxi ride and get in an accident. I mean, things can happen that aren't expected. And then of course, something that if you've ever traveled enough, you will have happened to you. I know I did, and that is lost luggage. Now, very often it's only lost in that it didn't arrive when you arrived, and it might arrive the next day to that airport, 3 days later, whatever. But here's the problem. If it's not there and you get on your cruise, you have no luggage. You're going to have to quickly go to that shop, buy various clothes, maybe a swimsuit, anything you will need, because you will not have your suitcase. And if you have the right travel insurance, they're going to reimburse your costs, because you know what? Those cruise gift shops, things can be a little bit more expensive. And here's the thing, people think, well, I have health insurance. Do you? Do you have it only if you're on U.S. soil? Will it cover you internationally? If so, is it in the out-of-network part of your plan, which means maybe you're still going to have to pay quite a huge percentage for any medical services? And believe me, it doesn't pay for medical evacuation. Now, sometimes your credit card, though, will have some options to pay for lost luggage. So that is one thing that you may be covered on. And then you might get the cruise line insurance. Again, let me give you a recent example. We are going on a cruise, a Caribbean cruise on Holland America in January. It was a free, a comped cruise that our local casino awarded. And when I say free, I mean, yes, the ticket price for my husband and I are free, but then we got the have it all package, and we have to fly to Florida, the port, round trip, and we'll get a hotel the night before just to make sure we're there on time. So there are additional costs. And I was naive, paid for everything, and then thought, oh, better get travel insurance. Well, guess what? If you've paid for your trip in full, you can no longer get it on the cruise line. So that's when I found this website, and it really helped me pick the perfect plan. I love it because I can say exactly what I need. You know, do I want cancellation for any reason? How high do I want coverage for medical evacuation? All those type of things I decide, and then it will give me quotes from different companies so I can compare them, because it's never apples to apples, right? It's always apples to oranges. It's a great site, so let me show you. So there's more than one destination, but it says you put in at least one, so we're putting in Puerto Rico. And then our trip dates, let's get that up. Let's see, we want 3 to 10. Continue. So we have 2 travelers going, age 70. Continue. So, United States. So we want Michigan. And yes, we're citizens of the United States. I guess I gotta indicate that. Okay, next. Would we like trip cancellation coverage? Yes, we'll take it. What is the total cost of your trip? Now, there it says, you may insure all, some, or none of your prepaid and non-refundable trip expenses. So in this case, we didn't pay for the cruise, but we did pay for the Have It All package. And then we have transportation, and we do have a night's hotel, and we have some excursions. So I'm just going to put in $2,000 here. Okay. Continue. We'll just put, yes, trip is paid for. Continue. Oh, let's say June 3rd. Oh, let's say June 3rd. Continue. So it knows today is after June, so we're not getting this before we finish paying. So, here are our results. And you can filter. Okay, so you can do your top sellers. You can price from low to high, whatever you want. Here, I'm real interested in emergency medical evacuation. But it could also maybe trip interruption, cancel for any reason, travel delay. And is it a cruise? Yes, it is a cruise. So in this case, it says, let's compare these prices. So compare. Okay, now let's look at the compare. So you can see it goes down to 163 up to 248, but there is difference. This is no pre-existing condition. Your medical deductible, no coverage for medical deductible. Evacuation, okay, this one has $1 million per person. This is only $250,000, and this is $500,000 per person. So right now, this is looking more like what I'm interested in. And non-medical, it has $20,000. These has nothing. And they're about the same for extension of coverage, travel delay, right around the same, not that much difference. And baggage, again, this one has $500 per person. This one isn't covered until after a 24-hour delay. Lost personal items, let's say something happened to my laptop or something. This is $2,500 per person. And if you miss a connection, this is $1,500 per person, covered after a 3-hour delay. And accidental death, well, hopefully we don't have to worry about that. But again, this is the better policy. Anyway, you can see. So you can pick as many of the travel plans as you want here, and then decide. And this is $236 for 2 people. So $118 a person about. So if you did buy, then you'd be putting in this information, okay? And that's all there is to it. So about $118 extra to have all this added protection. To me, it is worth it. But you can decide. Maybe you want cancel for any reason, or maybe the medical isn't as important as something else. As you can see, it's got a lot of filters, and I think you can find the best policy for you on this page by doing your search. If you've watched some of my other travel videos, you know that I like to occasionally stop at a casino and try my luck at the slots. So I guess you could say I'm a gambler. but I never ever gamble more than I can afford to lose. And I think you got to do that same thing with your cruises. I don't know about you, but there goes savings and more if I had to pay for a $100,000 medical evac from a cruise ship. So I'd rather be safe than sorry and purchase good travel, comprehensive travel insurance. So for a fraction of the cost of my cruise, I am covered. So before you set sail, check what does your credit card cover? What does your health insurance cover? What does the cruise line offer for travel protection? And then go to that website and compare coverage for all the items that you want to make sure your pocketbook will not suffer from if something happens. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you never have any of these calamities mentioned. But to me, it's better to be safe than sorry. So I hope you give this a thumbs up if you found value in it, and it will help others find these tips. And don't forget to subscribe for more travel insights, and remember, adventure awaits.